Okay. Okay, so that works.
So that one's already like
Yeah. Style put.
we're already live.
Okay. So we want to welcome you to today's episode of Live with Coach Bosse. And so I will not be doing the program alone today as well. I have my dear husband here, Yomi Fawenyimi.
Hello, good afternoon, everybody. Thanks for joining us.
Okay. We are still expecting Wale Oshewa. He will be coming online just in a couple of minutes. So we don't want to keep you waiting. That's why we decided to start it off. So what would you help us do as you come online? Say hi to us in the comment section. You can tell us the city you are joining us from, and we will just take it up from there. Also, help us share it because if you are on Facebook or on Instagram or YouTube, help us share the link to invite your friends to come and join the conversation. So today we want to look at something very interesting. I did a reaction video a few days ago, um, referencing the a video that was trending about a lady that claimed to be a side chick and said that, in fact, that ministry of side chicking is is very very good, and that it's a noble service they are offering because having a side chick will help the man to keep his marriage. And interestingly, in the comment, you will see some people will saying, and she's actually making sense. So, and some people would say, which type of sense? Where is the moral? What is wrong? And all of that. So that prompted us to say, let's talk about this. And what we want to look at is why would somebody decide to say, I need a side chick? The lady said they help in relieving stress. Is it really true that it helps to relieve stress? If it is not true, what are the alternatives? What are the options out there for people to explore? So we will just be, the conversation will be interesting. I want you to just talk to us, ask your questions, drop your comments. Don't leave it alone to us that you're doing your thing. Please, let's participate. We would really, really love to hear from you. So here we go. I'm going to start off by asking that I want to ask you, who is a side chick?
Oh, interesting question. I mean, I'm not sure there's any.
Body that does not know.
Yeah, and I'm not sure there's any definition in science or whatsoever about psychic. But the whole idea is a case of a married man who has some extramarital affairs with another lady, and that lady is referred to generally as a side chick. Why is it side chick? One, the person is assumed to be on the side. So there is a man and a wife. So those ones are the main, but there's somebody by the side. So that's why it's side. Then why is he a chick? It's typically seen as the person is typically a female and typically maybe more younger or more EP than the wife at all. So that's why it looks like chick from chicken, right? So a budding, younger, more glamorous person compared to the wife at home. So that's why it's side chick.
Side chick. Okay. Interesting. You said that the person is usually younger, more hippie, maybe more adventurous,
Yeah.
more playful, and maybe a little different from the wife at home.
Wow.
Yeah. So that lady in that video was saying things like, me, I've been at home all day and I have his time. So probably the side chick, maybe that lady in question does not have a job, and she doesn't have a child to look after, so she kind of like stays alone at home all day waiting for Mr. Chairman to come so she can give him all the attention. Okay, so I want to look at this, that so what are the real issues here now? There is a younger lady outside that claims to have more time for the husband than the wife at home. The issue is that if a man says, I am stressed and I need a side chick to distress, is that a wise thing to do? Is that the only thing you can do to distress if indeed you are stressed? Because that lady was using the example of Lagos. He said if you live in Lagos, there's so much stress. So men that you work in Lagos, or you work in a city that there is so much stress, is having a side chick the antidote, the anti-stress, the tablets that you need? I mean, I when I heard that, I found it very, very ridiculous that somebody will be justifying having a side chick all because of stress. So let's talk about stress.
Anyway, one interesting thing is, stress is part of life, and some cities have more stress than others. And everybody finds a way to manage, prevent, avoid, transfer the stress to somebody else. And there are healthy ways to do that. So there are people that get stressed up and they say, I'm getting stressed, I'm going to sleep. That's an healthy way to deal with the stress. Some people will say, I'm getting stressed up, I'm going to drink. That's a way they want to do it, but the drinking has its own repercussions on their body. So we must also always know that stress needs to be managed. Stress needs to be responded to in a healthy way. I lived in Lagos for many years, worked in Lagos, and if anybody talks about traffic stress, I think I know a little bit about it. I worked in Lekki and we lived in Ojodu. So if you know Lagos, when you walk in Lekki, you meet the first stress of traffic, the Lekki traffic. Then you get to the next traffic, the Faloma traffic. And then you get to the next traffic, Osborne traffic. Then you get to the next traffic, which is Third Mainland starts with Iyanoworo traffic. Bagada traffic, then Iyanoworo traffic. When you survive Iyanoworo, Ketu Alakpere traffic. When you survive Ketu Alakpere or Jota, then you go to Bega. And because we live after grammar school, there's another traffic for you in grammar school. And then before I get to my house in Ojodu. So I understand that. And it's a commute that can be between coming back from work between 2 to 3, 4 hours. I've seen times when I left the office at 4 on occasions and I got home at 10, at 11. So I understand the stress there, but there are healthy ways to deal with the stress. Going to get a woman that you go and spend like that really try to describe in that situation cannot be an
Good evening.
Good evening, welcome. Because in this,
I'm so sorry I'm late.
Okay.
No problem.
In this particular case, what you're doing is that one, the lady is not relieving your stress. It's just giving you what looks like a placebo. You need to rest. So you have been in traffic like she described for hours. What you need is rest. What you need is something that will relieve you of the stress, which is typically rest or sleep or some good meals that will calm you down. And if you're a man that has high blood pressure, maybe you need to actually take your blood pressure medications at that instance. Now, so if you say it's a woman, what you're just done is you're just giving yourself like a feel-good effect, a placebo effect. You are trying to enable yourself to do that. It's not an healthy thing, because it's not just about a woman, it's also about the fact that it is infidelity, it is cheating on somebody else, it is taking advantage of somebody else. And don't forget, your own opinion, you think that's all you're doing, but this lady that is providing this service to you, what you really don't know is that for her, she's providing a service. And the lady was saying, he's making his demands, I'm making my demands. You're not in a relationship with her, really. It's just like somebody who wants to fill the petrol in his car. Because she was saying that, he said, I'm making my demands, he's making his demands. So you guys are in a transaction. You're just a commodity that provides resources, and she serves you based on that. You can't compare it to your wife at home, who has your best of interest, who is concerned about you, who likes you to prosper. And don't forget, for the lady, based on what she said, what she said in that video was, oh, she's there for 30 minutes and all of that. That lady may have various men that come for this 30 minute sessions. So you're just like somebody, she just looks like a therapist or a doctor who is seeing various patients, and your slot is 12 to 12:30. Another person. So you're not exclusive. You're not really enjoying a relationship. And this person is you are a business, transaction that she's going into. And that cannot be how you want to
live your life. Yeah. Interesting. So thank you. Wale is here, and I have a question for you. So, I mean,
Okay.
he has said a little about, using side chicks to as a means of, does it really relieve stress? From your own side, what do you think about this concept of side chick generally? Whether as stress reliever or as for anything. What do you think?
Honestly, I don't believe in side chicks. I don't think that it's something worth even considering at all. Because first off, when you talk about a side chick, what you're indirectly trying to say is that the person that is supposed to be the main chick, if you're using that word, is not doing what she's supposed to do. Because if she was doing what she was supposed to do, then I don't think there will be a need for a side chick. So I mean, the whole idea of having a side chick is already wrong, since marriage is founded on a man and a woman. Or if it's polygamy, then it's a different case. But here, I believe we're talking about the man and the woman. So if it's that case, then there shouldn't be that room for side chick at all, at all. So, yeah, that's it from my end.
Yes, I absolutely agree. And when he was helping us define who a side chick is, he said, okay, somebody, most of the time the person is younger, more hippie, more adventurous. So it's it looks more like the people that go into this side chicken business. So as a man now, do you guys think it is younger men or older men that do it the more?
Well, now, well, with the old concept, I think it's actually older men, and I say older men because um because I know that there'll be young guys that do it as well, but I mean, it's just a thought in my head that it's the older man that is probably looking for someone because he's been in marriage for so long and he feels like, oh, maybe his wife can't deliver anymore. Or I mean, I don't know what the rationale would be, but I believe that a younger man who is focused and has an understanding of what it is that he wants to get will not get himself into looking for a side chick in the first place. Because I mean, like Uncle Yomi had said even before, just while I was listening in, he said something about the fact that it's even cheating in the first place when you're having a side chick. So that means that you're already breaking the trust that you built, that you committed to when you made your marital vows, because you said it's still death do us part and all of those things. So if you're saying that you're going to be with this person, then you want to stay with that person irrespective of the situation. So I mean, it seems like older people do it, but irrespective of the age, I don't think that anybody should actually find themselves in that at all.
Exactly. So whether you be a young man or an older man, side chicken, side chicks, side whatever, it is not It's not advisable. I mean, if you watch what you listen to that lady, she said, "Oh, it's so transactional. You know, when it comes, I am giving him what he wants. Me too, I am making my demands. He's making his demands. I'm making my demands." And I'm like, what an expensive life for, I mean, for that guy that is having side chick. It's so expensive because you
Yes.
you have responsibilities at home, then you have gone to now carry another responsibility outside. And this responsibility that you have gone to carry wants to collect as much as possible
Yes.
from you. The person doesn't send you. So what
Yeah.
now the benefit? You know?
You know, when I saw the video, one of the things I told my wife was, I mean, everything that she said was unfounded because everything that she listed, if you actually look at what husband and wife should actually do for themselves, those things that she had mentioned are things that you should naturally find in marriage. Now, and I was
Mhm.
telling her, I said, so there is the ideal situation and then there is the reality. So in an ideal situation, the wife should be able to, I mean, if the husband is the one that is coming later from the office, then the wife should be able to welcome the husband and, I mean, just attend to him at that point in time of coming home from work. And if it's the wife in that case that is coming late, then there should be some sort of that, oh, welcome, honey, and how was your work and all of that, even from the other side. So if a woman now says that, oh, she's going to rub his head, she's going to rub his tummy, I mean, that is naturally found in marriage. So what's new about the service that you are giving that the wife cannot give? I
Cannot
mean,
give.
yes, I understand that there is usually a lot of stress things from work and all of that, but every man should ideally come back home to relieve that stress. It should be that the man is looking forward to his house. Yeah, I mean, there can be that issue of, oh, you made a mistake in marriage, or you feel like you made a mistake in marriage, or somehow you guys are not working together to resolve your issues. Then that the solution to that is not actually looking for a side chick. The solution is actually both of you coming together to resolve your situation, because I believe that underlying all of that situation that they might be having in the marriage is actually communication issue. And if they resolve that communication issue, then they will be able to understand themselves and attend to each other's needs, whatever it is. So, I mean, if couples start to actually, because if we're frank, what the man is trying to do is to run away from his actual responsibility. And I mean, one of the things I've realized is that a lot of the things that people, not just men now, run to find solace or comfort temporarily, I mean, it's a temporary thing. It only gives them comfort for that few 15, 20, 30 minutes, like she said. And after that time, you still go back home to face the reality. And that thing of where she said, when he gets home, I mean, he'll be able to face the pressure from the wife and all of that. That is a big lie, because I can guarantee that what he has done coming back home would only make him wish to be more with the side chick than to be with the wife. Because if he's getting what he wants from his side chick, then one day we'll wake up and say, you know what, if my wife is not giving me what I need, why am I staying with her? And so indirectly, in the long run, what that lady has done is more havoc to the marriage than helping the marriage, like she said she is doing. So I think that's really where, I mean, if we're actually looking at the situation straight, the side chick is actually causing more problem for the wife and for the marriage than she says she's actually solving. And the temporary solution that she gives only worsens the matter in the long run. I mean, the same way people go to drugs, they go to alcohol and all of that. It gives them that temporary satisfaction. But when they're back to themselves, the problem still remains. They still have to face that problem, or else it destroys their life, it destroys their marriage, it destroys whatever it is that, I mean, they felt they were trying to run away from in the first place.
Yeah. Very, very true. We also need to just keep on emphasizing that having a side chick is infidelity. You know, this
Yes,
day you will hear somebody will say, but it's not deep. I don't have feelings for her.
it's
I
not
mean,
that deep.
it's not that deep. I really don't have feelings for her. It's just sex. I mean, all she does for me is just rub my head and rub my, like, it's just, no, you cannot minimize that that whole encounter or the experience and say it's not that
Yes,
deep. It is deep because it is infidelity. Whatever it's supposed to be shared between you and your spouse, and you carry
Yes.
it and share it with somebody else, it is infidelity, it is affair, it is cheating. Whatever name
Yes.
you are comfortable calling it, it is a no, no, no.
I think
True.
also it's important to emphasize that. I mean, so at everybody in life at various times has been thirsty. You wanted to drink water, right? And then you will see water everywhere. I mean, so for example, you are walking on the road or you're driving on the road and you are thirsty and you see water in the gutter. If you drink the water in that gutter, you will get some relief at that instant. But you're going to
True.
have a lot of trouble in the night because your tummy is going to rumble, right? So
Yes.
it's the same thing about where you're supposed to go for a solution. So you have an injury and you are bleeding and you are going to the hospital, and along the way you see a sign that says Doctor Abalis, about doctor or whatever. Will you turn there? I mean, you wouldn't turn there because you are going to the hospital. So I think one of the things that you put at the back of everyone is that if you are in a monogamous relationship where there's an expectation of fidelity, where there's an expectation of fidelity, your wife, your husband should provide certain things
For you.
exclusively to you, which is very, very important. Any other person that provides it is just a short-term problem that you are trying to solve with the wrong tool. I think it's also
True.
important for us to ask the ladies who are also doing that. One interesting thing is as part of this male dominated system, which sometimes is unfortunate that women perpetuate too. So that lady there was trying to justify as if the man is the only one that has needs to stress.
Yes.
Are there no women working? Should they also go to see a side
talk,
Side guy.
or whatever it is, side watcher? Should they also go to that part? I mean, it's just a very negative way of looking at something. And let's be very real. In this case, this lady, because we're not discussing something abstract, we're discussing a lady that was describing her experience. This lady and that man, they both have a wrong concept of marriage. Something must have happened to her that she sees marriage in a particular way that has now made her feel, because it's different enough, it's bad enough for this side chick to say this is what I do. It's worse when that person now believes. I mean, you can imagine that level of acculturation and level of mind balance. I am helping the home. So it's not that I'm not doing anything bad, I'm doing what is right. So both of them have a wrong concept of marriage, which might have been because of their own experiences, whether what they saw with their parents and whatever. And both of them are reinforcing a pattern that was mutually destructive. The man has needs. Rather than go home to meet the needs, he looks for an halfway solution. The lady also wants to have somebody to supply that need to. Rather than get a stable person, get married with somebody that she can offer that service, get somebody who comes for 30 minutes. At the end of the day, both of them will never be fulfilled in what they're doing. Because this 30 minutes touch and go business, how long is she going to sustain that? She's still young.
Yeah.
Is that what she's going to do for the rest of her life?
Yeah.
And then she was saying, well, my nipples is in front of him and all of that. She feels that's what brings the man to come back. I mean, that's it. Based on what all the things the lady listed, this man can actually replace this person in the
with
next day.
another lady that is willing to do the
Because all you are doing is just serving, like me changing my baba, right? So herself is not setting herself up for what is sustainable for herself, and that's very important for us to talk about.
Yeah, thank you. Yes, I was also thinking about it, that for that lady to be doing something that is obviously very immoral. I mean, because in today's world, the society doesn't want to allow us call bad thing a bad thing. That something is bad. They want us to say, it depends. You see, in this situation, it does not depend on anything. What she's saying is wrong from all angles. You can imagine what her parents, we are parents.
Mm.
You can imagine if her mother listen to her saying that, she does this for a man, she does that, and then she's saying that she's offering service to help the man's marriage. So for that kind of person to be thinking that way, there is trauma somewhere in her life, and that has made her to
Mm.
really be justifying bad behavior. So nobody should
Yes.
be out there and be confused, because some people are saying she's actually making sense. See, she made no sense. Eh? There is no sense in what she talked about. There is no sense. So I want us to now talk about the dimension where some people say she's actually making sense. And that point is the fact that they assume there is fire at home. They assume that the home environment for that married man is not conducive. She said that
Yes.
so that when the man gets home, the man can go and face the heat. They assume that all homes is on fire.
Mm.
All home
Yeah.
is on fire, and then somebody is helping the man, equipping the man, with fireproof, so that when he goes into the fire, he's not going to be consumed. So let's talk about really homes that are hot. So that assumption that if the home is hot, what should the man do instead of going to a side chick to get fireproof?
Okay, I think there are a
Okay.
couple of. Okay, Wale, please go ahead. Wale, go ahead.
Okay. So, and I think I touched a bit on this earlier, and I said, first off, I think that, I mean, when the house is on fire, in quotes, basically the first thing that they need to do is even come to a point where they understand themselves. I think one major barrier in marriage, or one major issue in marriage, is communication. Because once communication is lost, it becomes difficult to even resolve any issue at all. But if there is a good communication line, if it's open, and I mean, the husband can assess the wife can assess the husband, then there is no problem that they won't be able to face. I remember that, I mean, I had a conversation with a friend a few weeks back. I mean, he's single, and he was saying something about, that he doesn't want surprises in the marriage. So he wants to engage in some conversations before he even proposes to the lady. And I was telling him that there's a level to which you have to be, there's a level of vulnerability that you have to get into even before anybody will be open enough to tell you some of the struggles or the things that they're going through in their lives. Now, why did I say that? I'm actually coming to the fact where, and what he was big on is that we need to come to that point of communication where we have locked to a certain point before I even say I want to get married to this person. And I mean, yes, that's a build. So, but in the marriage, that communication should have been established to a certain point, even if it's your first, second, third year and all. So if you guys are locked in terms of communication, then, I mean, if the husband feels like he's not getting what he needs from the marriage, then he can actually come to the wife and tell her exactly what it is. I mean, there are times where I'm not getting what I want from my wife, and what I just do at that point is I just mention it to her. Okay, so Dara, I think that we're not locking in this area. I think that we need to do something about it. And we sit down and we talk about, sometimes she might not be in the mood at that point to have that conversation. So, I mean, it doesn't go fine at that point, but somehow we always find a way to revisit that conversation and we're able to resolve it. And so there isn't that thing of, I cannot reach my wife, because that's the painting, or that's the scenery I'm sort of getting from the story. The man cannot reach his wife, because if he can reach his wife, then the things that he needs, his wife will be able to provide. And I mean, like Uncle Yomi also said, to the flip again, the husband, as the wife as well, should be able to reach her husband if she has some certain needs. And so if there is any heat in the family, it's understanding that I'm not against you in this matter. We are in it together. And if we can sit down and look through it together, then we can resolve the matter. And like I said earlier, everything that she said she's going to provide should actually be in the home. And so if they don't have it, then it's that conversation, it's that coming together to resolve the issue that needs to be addressed first off, before you even now talk of any other thing else.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, great point. What I would just like to add is that the question of when people have problems, they should look for the best solution to the problem. I mean, life, life happens, and there are problems in relationships, in health, in finances. So if you have problem with your finances, there's a right way to resolve it. If you have a problem with your car, you're not going to say, "Oh, I have a problem with my car, so let me drive my car to the barber. Let my barber help me resolve." No, you look for the right person that can help you resolve that problem, right? So if somebody has a problem at home, like Wale said, the important thing is resolve with that. Since marriage is about two people, then the two of them should be involved, and that's where the questions of potentially having people that can help you, talk to you, help you resolve it if you can't resolve it on your own. Again, the question of, okay, the home is odd, so what do I do about it? And talking about Lagosians, quite a number of people in Lagos use various ways to differ. So for them, home is like limited exposure program, right? What do I do to get home and spend a short time awake? Right?
Yes.
So some of them will close from work, then we'll go and watch EPL, or go and watch a match, or go and stay in a bar, or go and or
watch
movie and all of that. So there are people who do all of those things. The challenge is that the way to you are not solving the problem, right? You're not solving the problem because you are creating other problems there. So look for and yes, Wally has enumerated quite a number. Look for solutions that will ensure that that temperature in the house that you say you don't like, you are able to calm it. And maybe the issue at the end of the day is that why don't you ensure that there was never temperature in the first place, right? At the point temperature is rising to the point that you are trying to escape, at the point when it's rising, why you could have tolerated, you manage it and ensure you brought it back. But I think going to stay with one side chick who is just seeing you as a ATM machine can't solve the problem. Because when your money finishes, this ATM
somebody else.
No, somebody else. Right, so
we'll kick you out.
We'll kick you out.
So if I may add to what you just said, so now it sort of explains to an extent why we sort of have that situation in homes where in the long run, even children grow up and they don't know their fathers. They always tilt more to their mothers when they're older. And so, I mean, I was speaking with a senior colleague at work a couple of weeks back, and he was saying something about how when children come back home, they can buy things full in a bag, like a Ghana must go bag. That's the gift for their mom. And then all they're giving their dad is probably a bottle of wine or something. And when they give money as well, they can give mommy triple the amount they're giving daddy. And they'll say, mommy, please don't let daddy know. That's because daddy was never at home most of the time from the very beginning. And so, there's a tendency for men to feel like, okay, why are my children always tilting to their mothers more than they tilt to their fathers? And that's really why, because a lot of times what you're thinking of is how I can reduce my stay at home time, when really what you should be thinking of is increasing your stay at home time, particularly when it's not work. I mean, men are actually wired to do work and all of that, but it's also important that as you are doing that, you understand that you are shaping destinies, particularly the lives of the children, and the example that you lay for them is the example that they will go on to replicate as they grow older. And so if as men we begin to take the right standpoint in terms of being available for our wives, being available for our children, we set the right examples for them. And I mean, the world would actually be a better place if we start doing that. So I think that it's a call to men to actually begin to think of what it is that they do and how much time they actually spend at home. So I'm not saying don't go to work, but you go to work. Once you're done from work, then come back home, spend time with your wife, spend time with your children, let them know you. Because when they grow older, it is that time that you have spent with them that they would also replicate.
Thank you. I would just look at it also from this angle that when a marriage is beginning to suffer and one partner is avoiding the other one, like, I don't want to go home. I wish I can just sleep at work. Or, I mean, so when you see that happening, that you're like avoiding your partner, then that is the time to seek help. All this, we can talk it out by ourselves. If it is not helping, you guys have tried to talk about it. The situation is still there or it's getting worse. You are avoiding your partner. Then by all means, look for solution, help, intervention, not the type of offering that lady is offering. No, not that type. But see a professional, see a therapist, see a counselor, call your pastor, tell your mentor, somebody that can help, intervene in that situation before it gets out of hand. I mean, today we are talking about people using side chicks, but there are other people that what they use for their own is not side chick and is as equally bad.
Yes.
For people that were not drinking before, they were not clubbing before, they will just say, oh, my friend says we should go and spend 3 hours to avoid traffic. And then they go and stay in a club and more vices starts to come into their life. So instead of, exploring those things that will bring negative impact on your relationship, go and look for help. Don't be prideful and say that nobody should hear our matter. Nobody should hear our matter. We just solve it by ourselves. Lawyer will help your matter. They will hear it when you are going for divorce. All the things that you cook, we will hear about it. So let people hear now and help you on time. Okay. The next thing I want us to talk about is what workplace and this side chicken thing. So what is the work environment? How does it influence or affect this concept?
There was this research that was published. I wrote about it on Valentine's Day by the SCPRM, is an HR professional institute, and they were trying to gauge the percentage of people that were involved in workplace romance, and they were getting excess of 40% of people in the workplace either have been or are currently or they have observed, which talks about the prevalence of workplace. So the fact that the people you spend the greater part of your waking hours is the time you are awake, is with people at work. There's a tendency that there can be chemistry and there can be some sexual attraction. That's one way the workplace contributes. Also, the fact that the workplace also brings exposure to different people. So in this case, you are having a John, a Moses, a Mary, an Abraham that you are working with, or an Ishmael, right? Those people, you start to like them, there's another exposure. Now, work can also expose you because you travel, right? So you are on training. They send you on training to go to Abuja or to Ottawa or to Montreal, and you are staying in an hotel for 3 days. And then another colleague of you is also on the trip. And then things can happen while you're in that hotel. Work assignments. There's also the tendency of work teams also to contribute to this. And this is where I want to also let all of us be very careful. Typically when you work in an environment, you have some people that you work with often. So if you're an accountant or you're an auditor, you go to audit various firms. So you are in this firm this week, that firm next week, you're in this firm. And your team, yeah, you are a married man, and 4 or 5 other members of your team are not married or singles. But you're always going, you travel with this person to Ibadan, you travel with this person to Lagos, you travel with this person elsewhere. You start to have some level of closeness that is beyond mere colleagues. And then there could be some emotional connection, and this idea of side chicks could happen. And of course, maybe the last scenario is the one the lady painted, right? Where work is far away from home that it makes you stressed. And because it makes you stressed, you have a tendency to want and to say, okay, let me look for somewhere to stress. So the fact that we spend a lot of time at work, the kind of work we do makes us get vulnerable. And this is where I think we should also now talk about women. Because what has also been found is that now that more women work all over the world, which is great and something that we should encourage, more women are now getting involved in extramarital affairs. So the reality of side cock and side cockerel is real because of the fact that women now work. You know, in the days in which women were always at home, they didn't have the exposure, but now that woman, because that same woman, because if you are going to, I mean, if I give the example of Lagos Ibadan Expressway, if you walk in Mowe Bafo and all the places, there's this research institute by the right as we are driving out of Lagos, CMD. It has a big field where they serve drinks and people will tell you they're trying to avoid the traffic. There are also female workers who also go there to drink. So what you realize that the workplace has also made women become more vulnerable to having this this relationship with men. And so all of us should be very careful, whether we are men or whether we are women, that attractions can happen, chemistry can happen. You can start to like somebody more than you, or you can start to know more about somebody than your spouse, and you are likely going that way. Once you realize this, it's time to pull a plug and come back home and do the right thing.
Okay. So for those people who are involved in this kind of side chicking and side cockings, we need to put out a word or encouragement for them, because you maybe you are listening to us and you are in that situation that, I mean, it has happened to you or it's happening now. The word out there is that you should not continue to justify it. I think as long as you are justifying it. So some of the justification being, yeah, the home front is so toxic. In fact, I cannot even talk to my wife. Or my husband is never available, does not give me attention. That is why I am doing it. Oh, or is that there's so much traffic. Instead of me staying in the traffic, I would rather go and cool off in one cock or chicken's house. Don't stop justifying it. Just stop. Whatever it is that you are using to convince yourself, to help your conscience, to make yourself feel okay without behaving.
Where's your phone?
Stop it. If you have a relationship, then you should not have anybody outside. So let us give them practical tips now on how. So Wale, let's assume that there is a guy out there that has been caught in this web. There is that one lady in his life that is offering him those service. What should he do now? How can he stop? Wale, did you hear me?
Breaking.
Oh, okay.
I can hear you, but it's breaking. Okay, I can hear you now.
So the question is that if there's a guy who already has a side chick, what can he do if he wants to get out of it?
Okay, he needs to let his wife know. And I think that, I mean, by now I'm sure that he had his reasons for getting into it. And sometimes it's not even because he had a reason for getting into it. It might just be something that boundaries were not set. And so they didn't know when they went overboard. And so now, because they've gone overboard, it's difficult for him to either go back, or maybe the other side is even trying to blackmail him or something. And so that's understandable. However, I think the best thing to do is actually to let the wife know. But I'm sure that the guy already understands the nature of his wife, and he knows how she will respond to that kind of situation. So it's important that he now knows the best person he can reach out to that can be with him to actually tell his wife. Because the solution is actually to come open to your wife. If you cannot come open to your wife, I don't think there's still any way to redeem that marriage. So if you can say, oh yes, I want to stop, right? But it's actually difficult to stop if you don't come out into the light. I mean, as Christians, the Bible will say that sin only thrives when it's hidden. But when sin comes outside, it can't do anything anymore. So if the guy really wants to put an end to it, or the girl wants to put an end to it, then the first thing that we need to do is to let their spouse know. But like I said, it might not be a direct telling your spouse, because I mean, if you tell your spouse, understanding who your spouse is, you know how he or she will respond. So is it to either tell somebody that probably your spouse is accountable to? Because I mean, that's something that I hope that they have sorted out early in their marriage, that the man is accountable to somebody, the woman is accountable to somebody. So when delicate issues come up, they know who they can call into the picture to help resolve, or to help as a guide on how to go about it. But the solution, first off, will be for him to actually let his wife know. And if possible, yes, let the wife know. Let the wife know who it is, and tell the other person as well that my wife is aware and I don't want to. So it's that conversation. The wife needs to know. You need to be committed to saying that I don't want to do it anymore. And the other party also needs to be aware that it's out in the open, so that way it's not falling back into it again. And I know that, I mean, some of the things that people have put in place for those kind of things that might be helpful as well is that ensure a situation where you are not alone with the opposite sex, particularly in your office. So if you're able to avoid, particularly with that kind of person, so if your office is enclosed and there is no way anybody can see what is going on inside, maybe you want to attempt to leave your door open, even if it's just ajar, when you're having a meeting with that kind of person, so that nothing like that can come up. In terms of trips, you are staying in the same hotel, then you don't want to have meetings in your rooms, except it's a large number of people. You probably want to go to the foyer or something to have that meeting. It has to be an open place to ensure that there is no accident, because sometimes you say, oh, it was by mistake or it was by accident. So you need to put all of those checks in place to now ensure that it doesn't happen again. But the first thing would actually be coming out to the light and saying, this is what has happened. I know it's wrong. I'm sorry. And I'm ready to make amends. But like I said, the making amends might not be a direct route, but I mean, that should be the first thing to do.
Okay. Thank you. I will add to that. A lot of people, when they get caught in adultery, infidelity, or cheating or affair, they would want to continue to hide it because of the embarrassment that comes with it,
yes,
or because of the fear of the consequence. So they will now start to use many, many lies to cover the sin. And that is not helpful, because the day that the wind will blow, everything that they have been covering, it will be exposed. So the beginning of infidelity recovery is to put an end to the affair, and then to seek forgiveness from your partner. Now, it is not as easy as I have said it, and that is why you may need a professional to help you through the process. Because, I mean, your partner may pull up a big fight with you and say it's over and all of that. But if you are guided through the process, recovery is very, very possible. And then you are going to build a relationship that is far better than the one you had even before the affair. So that is the goal of affair recovery. So please, if you are out there, don't feel that you are already stuck and you should continue in it. You can come out. So please Talk to me. Eh? We can help you go come out of it. So what I want us to look at again, and I'm asking you, Sweet, is that can we give out tips to couples on the way to receive their partners, or the coming home ritual of your spouse? Say I am the one that is always at home, and then you come home at 8 p.m. every night. I know from 8 p.m. you will be home. What are tips that we can give to couples of what they should make that period to look like, and the things that they should not do within that period?
Okay, interesting question. I think it's a I mean, so there are various factors that can influence how that works. Who comes home before who? That is always the man that comes later. Now there are women that come much later. But what is important is that both parties need to have a sense of responsibility towards that time. So for the person who is at home, the bigger obligation is on you to ensure there is a respect for the welcoming the person desires. And if you are not a prophet, you may not know what the person wants. So you may ask, oh, when you come back at 10, or when you come back, what do you like to do? Some men will say, oh, what I want is I just make sure that hot running water, I want to have my part. Some men may say, oh, what I want is I just want somebody to help me remove my shoes or my sock. Or maybe it's a case of a woman that says, all I just want is something to just remove that my eye. Somebody say, I want food. Somebody may say, I want cold water. I mean, so it's better for the person at home to ask what the person wants. I mean, so for example, when I come back from a long trip, I remember I came back from a long trip and somebody, I don't know who was at home, was saying, what would you like to eat? And I'm like, I don't want to eat no jack. Because, I mean, food, when I'm tired, I don't want food. But some people will say, immediately I get home, I'm going to just eat one or tamala. So it's good for you to eat and then respect whatever the person wants. So that's one part of it. The other thing is that know what you should not do. So this person comes home and doesn't want to talk. Allow the person to be quiet. This person comes home and wants and doesn't want to talk about the economy of Nigeria. Don't bring an issue about economy. This person comes and doesn't want you to tell them, oh, our firstborn has done this, our second. So it's a question of one, know what,
check your network.
do it. Number two, know what the person does not want and then avoid. Now, for the person who is also coming home, it's also good for you to also have your own ritual. As you are coming home, you need to start to debrief yourself. Because what people have, okay, so you had a stress today at work, things were bad, your boss shouted on you, you didn't make the sale, you're disappointed. Hey, you left work, you're coming home. As you are coming home, you need to start to decompress and start to reprogram your mind. Okay, I'm going to another world. I need to do better than what I did at work. I mean, some people, what they try to do is that once they get to a particular landmark, some people will say, once I get to this landmark, I just start to train my mind to where I'm going on. So whether it's like, okay, when I get home, if I was annoyed, I will not show my anger, or I'll find a way to resolve my anger and things like that. So both parties need to know what to do and what not to do. There are also those that come home that bring the same tension home. I mean, I know of a case of this guy would drive, and once he gets to the gate, he will just press the horn, and he just presses on like twice, and he shouts, "I've been pressing the horn since morning. Nobody has come to respond to me." Of course, what happens is that the person at home now also gets annoyed because this person has been anticipating you come, and then the first thing you do is to start to complain. So if you are a man or a woman, you come home and the house is not tidy, that's not where to start. That cannot be your first communication when you get home. Or maybe you expected your food to be ready and the food is not ready. Or maybe you expected the house to be chilled and it's not chilled. You want it chilled. Whatever you see when you first come home and it is not good, learn to defer comment about it. But at the same time, if you get home and you see something that is good, also make good comments about it. So it's both parties that need to manage that upcoming ritual to get the best out of it.
Yeah, thank you. So Wally, do you have something to add? Homecoming ritual. What should couple do? What shouldn't they do?
I don't think he can hear you.
Wally?
Okay, so one of the things that I've had to do in terms of marriage personally is give grace to my wife. And what I basically mean by that is I mean, there were things I had a particular way of doing a lot of things before I got married, and based on where I grew up and all of that. But when I got married and I realized that things perspectives were different, I mean, thankfully we have Coach Bosse here, and we had our counseling session with her before we got married. And I tell you that that session that we had was quite helpful for us, because he helped me to understand even the struggles or difficulties that we had before, while we were dating. And so a lot of times I remember a lot of the things that we talked about then, and it helped me a lot to navigate marriage with my wife. And it's not as difficult as it would have been if we didn't have those sessions, because it was eye-opening for me. So one of the things, so I learned to give grace. And what I mean by that is basically when I don't appreciate things, sometimes I find a way to delay my dissatisfaction. So rather than be very quick to respond to things, sometimes I just keep quiet. Sometimes I just respond instantly, right? But one of the things that has also been helpful is that there's that balance. So when I'm quick to snap, sometimes she's just very quiet. And so that phase goes, and it's like both of us are not angry. But even when we're angry, what we try to do is just end the situation at that point in time and look for times where we're both in a good mood, or where we get some sort of green light to have the conversation. So I think it's important to have that check and balance as well, because the truth is the guy cannot be all perfect every time, and then the girl cannot be all perfect. The wife rather cannot be all perfect. So there has to be that point where the guy has it stronger and he can support the wife even when she behaves in a certain way, or the wife has it stronger and she can support the husband when he behaves in a certain way. So that's something that has been helpful for us, where she knows that, okay, I'm not in a good mood, and so she's calm about some of the ways I will respond or behave to things, and then I am also calm at how she will behave or respond to things. So that sort of mutual understanding, and also ensuring that you don't make decisions at points where things are heated, but you allow for that point to go, so that you look for another time to have those conversations, has been really helpful for us. And then sometimes the other thing I've also done is I look past situations and I ask myself, so if I have a way of doing things and she has a way of doing things, I ask myself, okay, so if we allow her have her way in this situation, does it affect anything? Is there anything is there any grave consequence to having to do it our way? Because if there is no grave consequence to having to do it our way, then why be fussy about doing it my own way? So in those kind of situations as well, it's helpful to allow for the things to be resolved, so that, I mean, that heat that you spoke about earlier is not coming up in the marriage as well. So when those things come up, when you're able to sift through the situation and look beyond that, and the relationship is more important to you, then it helps you to make the right decision as well in terms of how to respond. So those are some of the things that I have done, and I mean both of us have done, and it helps us a lot in terms of how we relate with one another. And then sometimes we just spontaneously have sessions where we reflect. Okay, so how did you, why did you, and all of that. And those also helps us to resolve things that have happened over a period of time, and then know exactly how to respond better when the situations come up. So I think it's those things that will be helpful in the long run. And I mean, you've called it rituals. We haven't called it rituals, but I mean, it still tilts towards what you have said in terms of having an understanding and agreement on how things should be done in the marriage.
Yeah. Thank you so much. I
Can you
want
hear
to,
me?
yeah,
Yes.
we heard you. I want to really appreciate the two of you for your contributions today. And for our audience, I want to encourage every couple to go and have a conversation and talk about their own homecoming ritual. I mean, a few tips. Sometimes some people, what they want is when they get home, they want to be hugged. Yeah, some people, they want their partner, the one that is at home, to give them a hug. There are some, they want to be welcomed with a kiss. So if that is what your partner wants and you are not doing it, they may not fight you, but they are not really happy. And the goal we have is to help couples, improve on their connection, improve on their intimacy. Some people, when they get home, they don't want to talk. They do not want to talk. Their social battery is flat. And what they want to do is just go and lie down somewhere and not talk. So if you know that that's what your partner wants, then you need to get the children away from that partner. Because maybe the child is saying, "Daddy, daddy, mommy," just get them away. Let your partner enjoy some quiet so that they can distress. For some people, when they come in, they want to start to download all the things that has happened to them. They want you to listen. So you have to listen because that's what the person wants to do. So every couple, as unique as we are, we have preferences to how we want things done. And I want to appeal that if you're a couple out there, go and ask your partner. So when you get home, how do you want me to receive you? How do you want, the first maybe 30 minutes to look like? Because the person doesn't want to eat food. And you're like, I've been making this ofada sauce since morning, so you will not eat it. Won't you eat it? Come and eat it. And because that person is not jumping up to eat your food, you're upset. And tomorrow, you don't want to put in so much effort into making food for him again. So let's just be careful and know how our partners want to be received so that those kind of girls outside yarning rubbish, saying the man wants the nipple on the face and everything, we can silence them for good and affair-proof our own marriage. So, do you guys want to give any last words, or we should just?
Yeah, yes.
Okay, so I want to thank you all for joining and still encourage you to share these things on your WhatsApp statuses, share it on your Facebook. Just send the word out there. I tell you, you will be saving a marriage. So Wale, thank you for coming today. Chi, thank you. And
thank you for having me.
Yes, we will be coming to you again. And then, audience, if there is any topic or any subject you want us to look at, please do send us a message. Just drop it in the comment section that you want us to address this topic. And we'll see you soon. So, do have a good night.
Thank you very
and
much.
Enjoy the rest of your day. Bye.
Bye.